Hi folks, it's Marty with Remax Real Estate. In this module, we're going to break down one of the most misunderstood documents in condominium ownership, the Reserve Fund Study. If you've ever opened one of these reports, you know they can look technical, dense, and even intimidating. But once you understand what it's actually designed to do, it becomes much clearer and much less alarming. Let's start with the purpose. Around the year 2000, Alberta legislation began requiring condominium corporations to complete formal reserve fund studies. The reason was simple. Before that, many buildings operated reactively. When something failed, owners were hit with a special levy. The reserve fund study was introduced to prevent financial shock. It forces the corporation to look ahead, typically 30 years, and ask, what will this building cost to maintain properly over time? It is a capital planning document, not a defect report, not a structural failure report, a planning roadmap. So what are engineers actually evaluating? They are not inspecting for collapse, they are assessing common property components based on expected life cycles. These usually fall into several major categories: building envelope, roofing, siding, windows, balcony membranes; exterior site components, parking lots, sidewalks, fencing, landscaping; mechanical systems, boilers, pumps, domestic hot water systems, electrical systems, panels, lighting, emergency systems; interior common areas, elevators, flooring, paint, shared spaces. For each component they determine normal useful life, current age, remaining useful life, estimated replacement cost, projected replacement year. They are forecasting, not diagnosing failure. Now, let's talk about useful life. Every building component has what's called a normal expected life. For example, a roof may have a 20 to 25 year life expectancy. If the building is 20 years old, the study may show remaining useful life, 3 to 5 years. That does not mean the roof is leaking today. It means statistically, planning for replacement should begin. This is probability and life cycle modeling, not panic. Then comes cost-life analysis. Engineers estimate what it will cost to replace each component, adjust for inflation, factor in construction cost trends, include contingency and professional fees. They project these costs into future years. That's why reserve fund studies often show large numbers. Those numbers are long-term capital forecasts, sometimes 10, 15, or 20 years into the future. They are not immediate bills. So here's the key takeaway. A reserve fund study simply asks, what will it cost to maintain this building properly over time? Buildings age, components wear out, capital cycles are normal. The reserve fund study exists so those costs are anticipated, not reacted to. In the next module, we'll walk through the financial modeling side of the reserve fund study and explain how to interpret contribution levels and funding adequacy calmly and logically. I'm Marty Smayda with Remax Real Estate, and that's the foundation for understanding a reserve fund study.